What was the biggest bullet you dodged? Didn't lend money to a friend because I was broke. Few months later he disappeared with several thousands he had stolen from my other friends. I had a cardiac arrest about 4 years ago. Dropped deadish in the middle of my shift. Found out after I woke up about a week later that the manager who saw me fall was a former lifeguard and knew proper CPR. An ambulance happened to be passing about 2 blocks away. Probably the best cardio unit in my state was a 10-minute ambulance ride from where it all happened. Walked out of the hospital about 2 weeks later, full recovery. Was going to move to a different apartment complex last month. Got injured at work and lost hours, therefore couldn't come up with the deposit money in time. Last week, some asshat was cooking meth and caught the building on fire. In 1992 I was 16. A bunch of us were about to leave the party and I called shotgun. But my friend Pat kind of wrestled me out of the spot and I wound up jumping in another car since the first car was now full. The other driver and I watched as our friend's car skidded into oncoming traffic. Pat was airlifted to the local trauma hospital where his dad told a huge group of us teenagers that Pat had succumbed to his injuries. Maybe that's not exactly bullet dodged, but when my great aunt passed away I was helping to clean out her house. I'm just dragging everything out of the basement and suddenly my dad was like, "Whoa. Put that down gently and let's move away from here." So I put the weird metal tube type thing I'm carrying down and get out of there. Turns out, it's a mortar shell from when my aunt worked in a munitions factory during World War II. Bomb squad came and took it away. I stayed up all night before a day trip to Hong Kong. You know that days when you haven't slept. You're just kind of robotic and doing the human stuff, nearly zero awareness of anything. Well, I went to cross a street and my friend behind me snatched my shoulder and yanked me backwards just in time to feel the whoosh of a double-decker bus breezing past us. I just looked at him like, "Oh, thanks man," and it took a whole extra minute for my brain to process I would be fucking dead had he not grabbed me. My dad was going through severe depression 10 years ago and my life was equally shitty for a whole multitude of reasons and it was rubbing off on me. I spent what felt like half an hour crying on the floor and working up the nerve to pull the trigger, then when I finally did, the safety was on. I sold my gun the next morning. Wish my dad was able to say the same 3 years later. Rest in peace. Freshman year of college I had a calc class. It was material I had learned before, but for various reasons they didn't give me transfer credit. So I skipped class quite frequently. Though I usually slept then, one morning I find myself awake at 8:30 and not really feeling like sleeping. Might as well check in on the class and see what's going on. It was the midterm exam. I was walking down the street in downtown Chicago and I heard a loud bang followed by a woman screaming. Somebody dropped a full 2-liter bottle of soda from the 13th floor and it just missed me. It was essentially a giant bullet at that height and speed. The woman screaming was about 5 feet behind me. I'm pretty sure that bottle would have killed me if it hit me. 7.92 Mauser rifle bullet. When I was 15ish I was very depressed and got very drunk. I found my great-grandfather's World War I captured German rifle, found some bullets from that time, loaded it and put the rifle in my mouth and pulled the trigger. Thankfully the bullet was not loaded properly and was a dud for being 90 years old at the time and did not fire. At 17 years old I met and married a sweet little North Carolina daddy's girl. Had I not, I would have still been hanging with my friends that just discovered heroin. Of the 3 friends, 2 are dead and 1 did 10 years in prison. A literal police car. The police were chasing someone and I was crossing the road and my dumb ass was walking slowly and the police car nearly grazed me. Look both ways and take off your headphones when you cross the road, kids.